Welcome to MK Sportscars. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about the MK Cup 200 road legal race car. We do this in a couple of options for road legal specification, where you can drive it to the track, race it and drive home, or you can have it as a race ready race car only. Right, let's start at the front of the car with the specification of the MK Cup 200. We're going to start here with a nose cone. We have a specifically designed MK Cup 200 nose cone, which gives a bit more air and breathing into the air filter and also into the cooling to help with that, because it's predominantly a race track based car. On the front we have independent front suspension with inboard rockers that are down in here. It's all push rod style suspension on here. They come as standard with billet front uprights. These are MK's own design, and 4-pot brake calipers with cross drilled and grooved discs. It's all billet aluminium on the bearing carriers, and we have a couple of wheel options. They come with the CXRs, or we have the new style wheel, this option which is currently going to be available. So we have two design of wheel options to go with this particular vehicle. Now, moving on to steering and geometry, on this particular car we run a 2.2 quick rack, which is very, very good for turning on the track. We have all quick release access panels into the nose cone for that to come off, and for the bonnet. So we're going to take the bonnet off and talk to you about the engine specification. We run the Suzuki Hayabusa Generation 2 and Generation 3 engine. These produce 205 horsepower in stock format, and we do a couple of options on these in the throttle bodies. We can do a tapered throttle body here, the angle kit, to run a Gen 3, what's called a drive-by-wire system, which is down in here. Or you can run your standard Gen 2 throttle bodies as well without the drive-by-wire system, but it comes with a billet fuel rail on this particular one and all of the flat shifter options, so it can give you the 6-speed sequential gearbox out of this flat up and down shift with a drive-by-wire. Now, in here on this package underneath, you can't see it, but we have a specially designed sump that we work with RLM Racing for, which is very much race proven, thousands of track miles. So for oil surges and everything else, this is completely race proven. Do not need a dry sump system, complete weight sus system. Now, underneath, to soften and dampers, on all round, just in here is the inboard suspension, hard for you to see, but we run our Cup specification Protec aluminium dampers, and the car is spring rated for this particular vehicle. We have a 250-pound spring on the front and a 350-pound spring on the rear, which is perfectly suited for the race specification. And then in here we have our one-piece prop shaft that drives from the engine right the way through to the back with our specially adapted prop shaft adapters. Quick access panels, again, these have got, all comes into the wiring loom, which we run. The electronics on this particular version is the Life Racing F88 ECU, and it's our loom that we manufacture for it. Or we have another option, you can do the standard Suzuki Hayabusa ECU and our loom to operate that too. So you've got two options in there. Exhaust system that comes through it is a nice 4-into-2-into-1 system. All of the specifications are standard, very good, breathes really nicely with our track day silencer that we run on there to keep the noise limits to a nice subtle tone, but also trying to comply with the noise regulations of the circuit. I'm going to talk a bit about safety on the MK Cup 200, which we take very seriously. These are very fast cars, and we want to make sure you, as the occupant, in case of an incident, is as safe as you can be. So we have our FIA approved roll cage. This is a 38mm roll cage on here, and it's double hooped and pretty strong with side impact bars as well. And then going into here, we have our pull switch here for our fire extinguisher system. This runs a Lifeline fire extinguisher system, a suppressor system, and you have 5 little extinguisher system things. Driver and engine bay are in here. And then also the steering column, as you come round, is completely collapsible. And from a driver impact, we have a bearing in here and underneath, and the steering can collapse in both ways and both directions in case of an impact. And you have your mandatory battery kill switch in here in the event of a power shut off. Turning the vehicle on, just to show you, we run the AIM dashboard here, It's a Strada 1.2. We do this with, this is a IVA specification, so it's road legal spec, so it have the road icons. And then you have a series of options. You can run a GPS on this for lap times, and you can run a camera system as well for data logging and everything else. The dashboard's all aluminium, and then we can do the switchgear accordingly to a road spec or race spec version only. And in there we can do a reverse gear, which we have a motor mounted down in here. If you want it for road legal specification, we put that in. Interior wise, we've got a race seat in this particular one. This is a foam seat for this particular customer, but we do offer a couple of different options in GRP seats, and it comes as a standard with a 6-point FIA approved harness, which is mandatory now as moving forward. And then as you're moving along, you can see it's got minimal lights on this. It's the requirements for race specification is to have a rain light on the vehicle, which comes in the kit form, FIA rain light. We have to have brake lights. We do put indicators in here as well as a precaution, and the rest of it is just cleaned and safe. We have in the back here, we will show you, we run a Ford Sierra 7-inch diff with a ATB limited slip differential, which is here. Just mounted above here is your lifeline, as we spoke to earlier, the 2020 fire extinguisher system. That's all done. And with our fuel tank, which has our surge tank in the bottom as well, and our fuel pump set up and fuel sender level in here, all clamped in. And another safety aspect that we put in our vehicles is the low impact crash protection bars, which has some framework here in case of a light impact. On the rear, it's all independent rear suspension, 4 independent trailing arms there, with our drive shafts into our fabricated rear uprights with billet rear bearing carriers, and again 4-pot brakes all the way around with cross-drilled and grooved discs. We've got 2 65 discs on the front and 2 40mm on the rear. So price-wise on these particular vehicles, well, we start off with the kit form at $1995 plus VAT. That requires the complete kit then, less your donor engine and management system. And then you can add on from there what you want in your package. This vehicle, they can run them in our own Cup 200 Championship, which is with the 750 Motor Club. And you can search that online, or we'll pop up a link for you on that. But also don't forget, this vehicle is eligible to run in many other championships. It can run in the Sensational 7s in the UK, the Magnificent 7s in the UK, or we actually is used quite effectively in sprint and hill climb events as well. Or if you favour that and just want to get into your track day car, the ultimate track day car in a 7-car car, then the MK Cup 200 is the car for you. If you want to know more information about the MK Cup 200 or the Championship or the Series here, come and see us down at MK Sportscars here based in Essex, or hook us up, phone call, email, speak to Andy or Neil, be happy to help you.